Hey, everybody, this is Lord Gates from Rapture Radio. And right now, via the Zoom, we have the technology that can bring us all back together. We are joined by the members of When the Deadbolt Breaks. Greetings from North Carolina. Hello, Connecticut. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
How you doing? Doing great.
What's the weather like there?
It's nice, comfortable at the moment.
You guys had a rash of hot weather, right? Wasn't it like 100 degrees the other day?
It was 90 for like 3 days.
Oh, 90. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Never seen 90 before. Yeah, it was like 97 and just downpours since December. So it's just North Carolina. Not a fan of the weather. Love the barbecue, hate the weather. So I am joined by Aaron, Charlie, and Rob. And Aaron, who is the gentleman seated next to you? Steve, I'll make up When the Deadbolt Breaks. Of course, this is the current lineup of When the Deadbolt Breaks. And I know that you guys are pretty excited because you've recorded, and I think, have you mixed and mastered the 2 releases that are coming out?
Yeah, it's all done and ready to go. So
I need to hear the story again. Aaron and I were talking last week about this. I mean, this is like a dream come true where you're putting out, technically it's 2 albums, but it's like 1 album, but it's 2 different labels. So why don't you tell me about, first of all, how the process started, how you got hooked up with Charlie, Rob, and you said Steve, correct? I don't want to.
Yeah.
Steve. How did that form to create what you just created?
Oh God. So we've all known each other for quite a while. Steve and I have been friends since about 6th grade, 7th grade.
Okay.
Charlie, Rob, and I have known each other for
At least 5 years.
at least 5 years, being in different bands, plus playing Sentinel Hill together.
Mhm.
So around the beginning of the pandemic, I think we released a remix version of Until It All Collides. And what we did with that was we had Steve essentially take some of the songs that he liked best and remix them and just kind of reorganize them the way he felt they should be. And it was interesting the way it kind of came out, because it was almost like as if Godflesh had remixed one of our records.
That's awesome.
You know,
that's a good way to put it too.
Industrial and very heavy sound. You
Yeah.
know, so when we got into the process of recording the new record, we kind of thought about it. I'm like, there was a cool reception to that because it was something different for a doom band to do. I guess, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So we decided to, I talked to Steve and asked him if he'd be interested in working with us on this new record. So
now, Steve, you're a producer as well as do you do keyboards or something, or do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I play keyboards, guitar, and do a lot of production.
So on the upcoming When the Deadbolt Breaks albums, what did you add? You added the keys to it, is that correct?
I added the keys, that's right.
That is such a fantastic add-on to something that's already been fantastic. It gives it like almost an ethereal sound, and I hate to say, it fattens it up or it thickens it up, but it's not like a wall of sound type of thing, like a Beatles thing, but it has that underlying little niche that kind of bridges all the rest of the instruments and all the vocals and everything together. Was this something, Aaron, that you had been thinking about doing for a while?
Maybe for a little while, like with certain things. So I think Steve had mentioned it a while ago, like I think when you first heard Floyd's Machine. Yeah, that's right, because you remixed that 2 years ago.
2018, yeah, about 3 years ago.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, he remixed that one song, Floyd's Machine, from the Angels album.
Yep.
And it just kind of sat around. I had it, and I was like, it sounds so fucking cool, but it sat on my hard drive. I'm like, I wasn't sure what to do with it, like whether I wanted to release it as a single or, I wasn't really sure. And that's why when when the idea of doing the remix record, but I talked to Steve, I was like, that song was so cool. Let's do that with other songs, so that's kind of how that whole progression kind of started. And it's just like you said, it not only fattens it up, but it gives it like such a unique edge to it that I felt with these new songs, there's a couple ways you could go. I could either overlay a ton of different guitar tracks and do stuff that I normally do, which is fine, or do something different. And I mean, when he started laying stuff, dude, it just made all the difference to what it was.
Now to cut back to Charlie and Rob, when you've known Charlie and Rob for, was it like 5 years? Is that what you said? Something like about that, being in bands and being in the scene. And I guess it's a stellar scene that's in that, I would call it Northeast, Southeast Connecticut realm, before you get up to Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and before you reach like New Haven area, kind of like from New London up to, kind of Griswold and beyond, Putnam, around that area. How was it that you guys began to gel, and were all of you firing and adding bits and pieces to it, or did you have, Aaron, an idea of what you wanted, and that's why you went to Charlie and Rob?
We play in Sentinel Hill together, and we just there's a really good chemistry between the three of us. And then we started doing another project we are going to continue with at some point, called Vatican Fire.
Mhm.
And it was almost like the bastard child of When the Deadbolt Breaks, but almost more aggressive, right? So, because for a while, Deadbolt we were doing more mellow stuff and pretty much more straightforward. But Vatican Fire had this edge to it that, blast beats and just really
Right.
aggressive, mixed with the other stuff. So, around the time of the departure of Mike and Dumas,
Mhm.
I had talked to these guys and said, hey, if something comes down, would you guys be willing or interested to play in the band? And they, we decided we would, if anything happened, we'd roll forward with that. And then Mike and Dumas ended up leaving, so these guys came in, and it's just the chemistry, it happened
Clicked. Yeah.
fast,
Right.
So the new record is almost like it's a weird conglomeration of what Vatican Fire was doing versus, and mixed with the old Deadbolt stuff. So it's kind of like this more aggressive, more intense, but also more extreme as far as like psychedelics go in every direction.
Yeah, the blast, you mentioned the blast beats, and like kudos to Rob. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of whatever you have basically laid down, for tracks, for drumming. Seriously, you're a band's drummer. You get it. You show up, there's no drama, there's no BS. You get like, yeah, I'm gonna play that, do this and do that. But I have to say, was getting into this band and going down the When the Deadbolt Breaks road, was this a challenge at all for you on any certain of the tracks or anything that you were doing?
Well, yeah. I really haven't dabbled in blast beats until Aaron and I started playing around with the Vatican Fire stuff. So it really, I had to figure out how blast beats work,
Mhm.
and do it quickly, because we were making such quick progress with the album that I kind of had to figure it out on the fly. And the writing process was actually different for this. In the past, it's typically, Charlie comes to me with songs that are written, and then I just kind of take whatever drum ideas he had programmed and turn them into my style. So working with Aaron, it was a little more. I feel like it was more he and I kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. Typically, for about the first half of the album, he would come over to the house, and everything was mic'd up, and he'd play the ideas that he had, and if he had some drum ideas, he'd tell me kind of what he was thinking, and then I would make it my own part, and we'd record the rough ideas, and then after he left, I would sit down and kind of go through the song and kind of cut it up a little bit, move things around, make an actual arrangement out of it, and then send it to him. And then he would say, yeah, that's good, or maybe add this or try that instead. And then once he was good with that, then he would send a mix on to Charlie. Charlie would add his parts to it. Then it would go back to Aaron. Aaron would put the vocals on it, and then once that was kind of figured out, then it would go to Steve, and Steve would put his parts on it.
Mhm.
So it was kind of cool, because it was like Aaron and I kind of created the foundation,
Mhm.
and then we let Charlie and Steve kind of
Build up the
do
walls
what they
and
wanted. You know,
yeah,
like, yeah,
insulate
this is
it
the
and put this
song,
right.
add your stuff to it, and so it was kind of cool. And then I think that was like the first half, and then the second half was really he would record the ideas and send them to me, and then I would uh, I would record drums and kind of make a rough arrangement and send it to him
Mm.
because it was the middle of the pandemic, you know. So
Yeah, everybody's.
uh,
I mean, there's going to be a lot of. I'm hoping that this year into next year, there's a lot of great music that comes out of the pandemic bullshit, where these
Right.
bands that have been all bottled up have like, yeah, we got 3 albums. We'll release it as a box set. We'll see it. It's coming out in 2022 on vinyl, cassette, 8-track, Laserdisc, Betamax. You name it, and
well,
because
that was us. We recorded
yeah.
about an hour and 20 minutes worth of music.
Yeah. Well, so it's 1 album, but technically it's 2 albums. Is that the way to
It
say it?
ended up we were ended up having to do it as a double album, more
Right.
or less.
Yeah.
Right.
It's basically what it comes down to. With an hour and 20 minutes worth of music,
Mm-hmm.
you have to do it. You have to split it up somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
And we had thought about that too. We thought about doing it as one double record, which we've done in the past, but it just felt it was going to be too cumbersome to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So Argonauta, we're releasing 5 of the songs through them, Argonauta Records out of Italy.
Awesome.
And that's going to be As Hope Valley Burns. So we took the rest of the songs and had sent them out to Stone.
Electric Talon.
Yeah, Electric Talon. Thank you, because he's in Stone Eye. That's why I was like Stone.
Right.
Electric Talon Records, and he loved the idea. So that's going to be Hope Valley Burns, As Hope Valley Burns Eulogy. So it's kind of a part 1 and part 2.
Right.
And it's a unique way to kind of release it. So you're getting, if you buy both records, you're getting essentially 1 album's worth of material, but we couldn't
Right.
fit it all in one spot, so it's, they're part of the same story, part of the same record, just split.
I have to ask the title. So Hope Valley reference to Rhode Island, correct?
Actually, that's all Rob.
Yeah, I mean, it's yes, but no. I mean, I was coming back from the airport, and I saw a sign for Hope Valley, and I was
Yep.
like, that just it feels like something that could be really heavy if you use it in the right context. And so I just kind of threw it at the guys, and I'm like, the burning of Hope Valley or Hope Valley on fire, something
Yeah.
something with hope and destruction kind of merged together, because when you listen to the music, it's got really kind of nice pretty parts, and then it's got these ferociously violent parts.
You said it best. I told Aaron that the other day on Monday, when I was delivering copious amounts of Amazon packages, I'm in my car and I listened to both records over. Well, not over and over. I listened to them probably 3 times because it's an hour and 20 minutes, but and my shift wasn't that long. But everybody that I was delivering packages to got to hear the album. And there's some parts that are so majestic, and then there's some parts that literally could be like the soundtrack to either a horror or a serial killer movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
And-
kind of the idea behind the album title. Is it's the pretty parts sound like hope,
Yeah.
and the violent parts sound like destruction. So
I have to tell you, being from the Northeast, one of the immediate things I did was when I heard what the album title was going to be, I started Googling it going, did Hope Valley actually burn? Did I miss, this happened like during the time of the witches? Is there some crazy shit I missed, or, because it's vampires in Griswold, but maybe Hope Valley caught on fire. I don't know. But yeah, so it's As Hope Valley Burns, and then it's As Hope Valley Burns Eulogy. Now,
Right.
picking the songs to go with each album, was that difficult to do as well?
It was tricky because we want to, the Argonauta album is going to be coming out first. Or at least that's the plan, because it makes sense, and then, then the Electric Talon album comes out second. But there's not really like the way we look at it, we don't really feel like there's one bad song on the record. So it's like you want to put your best foot forward, but on vinyl, you're also looking at a time limit too. So we have to kind of arrange them. And again, that was Rob's doing, where he's a master with that shit, where he was able to arrange it in a way where you're only working with, I think, 20 minutes aside for vinyl. And our songs are so fucking long sometimes that makes it very difficult. So he was able to kind of maneuver it to where it worked out. So
Yeah, one of your longest songs, I think, is the first one. What is it? The Evil?
on that record, yeah. I mean,
On that
our longest
record,
one in
yeah.
general is an hour long.
It's
but-
like yeah, I know. It's like pounding nails, you know, in the coffins. Like,
right.
yeah. I was describing it to one of my friends at work who's into the metal and hardcore and punk and stuff. I let him hear a little snippet of some of it, and he goes, "Wow," he goes, that sounds like tantric sex gone wrong. And I was like, yeah, I don't think Sting is gonna come up with that, but yeah, I get it. I understand. It's like, okay, stop. My safe word's octopus. Stop, you know. So, but
going wrong.
yeah, exactly. You know, but they've you know, I have a couple quirky little nerdy questions for just listening to it. The first one was, where did you get the sound sample of the serial killer in The Evil?
That's Richard Speck.
Is that who that is? Oh, no
Yeah.
shit.
His interviews are
Oh,
fantastic.
they're amazing when he talks about how, and she let me back into the vehicle.
He
Like,
and it's
what?
funny because I was looking for the right serial killer because I wanted something that just was kind of fit the mood of the song, you know?
Right.
And his interviews, he just seems like such a genuinely nice guy. And that's what everybody said about him too. He's such a nice dude.
Yep.
And he talks about things like, hey, yeah, no, I killed her, you know? Like he just
felt like
matter
it.
of fact, super nice guy, but he's a murderer. So that sample just like fit fucking perfectly in that spot.
Oh, and did you also did you backmask it? Is there
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
some interesting things on there, yeah.
Okay. when I get the vinyl, well, no, I actually could do it digitally. I could highlight it, but who wants to fucking do that? I want to summon the devil. If I'm going to summon the devil,
If you do
I'm going
that,
to do it analog. Yeah.
if you do that, Sammy Kerr is going to show up in your bedroom.
Oh yeah. The lead singer of Flogging Molly, aka Fastway, will break through my door like the Kool-Aid guy. Yeah. Oh yeah. So when you guys went into the studio to do the recording, I am actually curious to what you guys were playing for what brand of equipment that you were using.
Like recording studio equipment or
Both the actual amps, guitars, and pedals, and all that, drums.
Well, so this was actually because of the whole pandemic. I recorded the drums at my place.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron recorded his guitars at his place. Charlie recorded his bass at his place, and Steve recorded his parts at his place. So it was kind of, there really was no entering the studio. I mean,
yeah.
you know, Aaron and I went into our respective basements, and Charlie went into his man cave,
Man lair.
and Steve went wherever he does his stuff.
Were you going
office.
back? Were you going back, Bob? Sorry, Rob. Did you have something specific in mind though for what you wanted to use for drums and cymbals and everything? Were you breaking out
So
the Pisces?
actually,
you know, the Roods and stuff?
I had a drum kit set up that I was going to use for the Sentinel Hill album, and we didn't get around to recording the album, and the Deadbolt stuff was getting to the point where we were ready to record. So that's what I ended up using. I used a DW Performance with a 24-inch bass drum, and I had a 22-inch bass drum
24.
sitting directly in front of it
Yep.
with a mic inside the 24 and two mics on the 22. So I basically ended up with a 24-inch bass drum that was 36 inches deep.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
Wow. I knew there was something there to add that real low, long droning, like there's a lot of
why the
heaviness
bass
to the
drum
kick.
is as big as it is.
It
because
is. Yeah.
It's a big diameter, and then it's two bass drums deep.
Right.
And then I used 10 and 12-inch rack toms and a 16 and 18-inch floor tom.
Mm-hmm.
And I used two different snares. For the more up-tempo stuff, I used shit, what did I use? I think I used my DW Performance snare for the faster stuff, and then for the slower stuff, I either used I think it was a steel shell Tama.
So you
I'll
did
have
went
to-
to the steel, and then the first one was wood. What was it? Maple? You're using maple?
Yeah, maple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then wood.
Yeah.
What about
so,
for cymbals? Were you rocking the Rudes?
Yeah, it was all Paiste cymbals. That's all
I can tell immediately just by listening to it. Those fucking
Yeah.
bells. The bell is like so
Um,
significant on those.
Yeah, so that would have been, let's see, I used my signature Bluebell ride,
Hmm
15-inch sound edge hats, and what I think I used 18-inch wild crash,
hmm
18-inch regular crash, and I would have used 20-inch Novo China,
hmm
and
22 ride.
yeah, the Bluebell's a 22-inch ride,
It's
and
22
then
Bluebell.
and then for some of the songs, I used a 14-inch blast china, and
Yep.
then a couple of songs I used a couple splashes. So it's like my crashes, my ride, and my hats and my china were the same on all the songs.
Yep.
And then there were some songs that I put the blast china in, some songs I put splashes in. I used a 18-inch Gigabell ride on the left
hmm
for some of the blast beat stuff. Yeah, Tama Speed Cobra pedals
Nice.
with
Those are
Dan
great.
beaters and trick drive shaft. And
This is awesome. This is like talking about cars. Like, what did you put in
yeah,
it? I bought a 350 for a 454 block in it, and yeah.
and
But it
then-
adds to it. It creates that. This album's different. It creates that different sound on it. I want to kick it to, Charlie's just been talking up a storm here. He's
He
just
doesn't ever shut up.
shit. What were you using for bass and for an actual amp?
I don't know. It's black, and I can't figure out the 5-string thing. I had to stick with 4.
Yeah, no
Usually,
corn, no. Yeah,
I play the thickest string on there. That's
Yep.
the only one I really use. And these guys plug all the stuff in. They turn the knobs. They just tell me.
That's why I love Charlie, man. I just play it. That's it. How about you? How about you, Aaron? Did you break out any new gear, or were you using the
The amps, I went back and forth between a hovercraft amp and a Sun Model T, and the Sun Model T is my go-to. It's
Yeah,
the
that's a
first
great-
generation. Pedal wise, like my main go-to for fuzz is the Earthquaker Acapulco Gold.
Wow,
But
never heard
depending
of
on
that.
what song it is, I kind of change it up and add additional things in there. And I mean, I've got a whole selection of pedals, so I just kind of, and I just like do tweak things and kind of play around with things. Pedals that I don't normally use, I'll use for recording, because maybe in a live setting they're not so good, but a recording setting you can get some interesting stuff out of there. Especially delays. I was really playing with a lot of layering the delays and reverbs. This album actually is heavier on the reverbs than I've ever done before. Like I'm not really. I never was really big into reverbs. Like I liked it, it was there, it's cool, whatever. But now I found out really what the attraction is, because I was more a delay person, So now I'm kind of getting into layering the delays of the reverbs, and this album is really the first time I kind of went that route with things, So yeah, just really playing with that, and they're all analog reverbs and analog delays, or at least that's what I try to stick with, the ones that mimic those, even if they're digital, they mimic the analogs,
Mhm.
guitars, PRS, and then
You're still rocking the what is it? I always call it the Elvis Presley mic. What is that called?
I that's
What is
a
that?
Shure replica. I have
Sure, replica. That's it. Yeah.
I have a different mic now that I use. It's a I can't remember the name of it, but it's it's still got the chrome look to it. It's just
Yeah.
a different style. It's not so much the retro style.
You don't
And
want to
really,
be.
I
You don't-
started doing that because of like germophobia. Like I didn't want to use everybody else's fucking dirty ass
Yeah.
microphone.
Oh, that's a worse. You go to a club and the thing looks like someone just smashed it on the ground or stuffed it up inside themselves.
Yeah.
Or
We-
like Gigi Allen had it before you, and you're like, yeah, it'll be fine. Sure.
we played years ago. We played the strip club, or it was above a strip club in New York called the Pussycat Lounge,
Mhm.
and we were there with Negative Reaction and
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
12 Eyes or something like that. I forget, another New York band. And I forgot that was the one time in years that I forgot my own microphone. I was like, oh fuck. My buddy's like, ah, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. We got up on stage and the microphone had dents and just stuff inside of it. And I was like, fuck this. There's no way I can use this. So we went to the Dwayne Reed's around the corner,
Yeah.
bought a whole thing of Purell,
Oh, and just
like,
dumped it.
fucking dumped it in a Purell.
Yeah.
Not that it did anything, but at least made me feel
Now-
better. You know, so
Now, the bar trick to do it is you just go up to the bar and you order a shot of whiskey. And I know you're not prone on wasting whiskey, but you can dab a little and kill the whiskey and then drink the whiskey and then light. And then during your performance, you can also light it on fire, like, fucking like Butthole Surfers, Gaby Haynes or whatever. Steve, what were you using for keys on this?
Well, I kind of feel bad because I'm a hardware nerd and I love Waldorf and Nord synths more than life itself. But for this one, we went 100% software.
Oh, real? Oh, that's right. Aaron and I were talking about this. That was kind of the difference for this album.
Yeah, it's mostly Omnisphere, but
Okay.
also Korg, and a little bit of the Arturia suite. But
So did you have an idea then of what you wanted to use in that, or did you have a lot of playroom with it?
I had a ton of latitude. I mean, it was, Aaron basically said, okay, here are the songs. Some are complete, some are not. Go to it. And I went to it. And the nice thing about the software was that I just threw everything I could at it. I threw just, some of them I think had almost 8 tracks worth of synths on them.
Wow.
And I just said, use what you want, throw away what you don't, and, thin it out, bulk it up, whatever you want to do. So the software came in really handy for that because you can just manipulate it so much easier than, you can do MIDI and then MIDI out to your hardware, but that just becomes kind of a drag.
Right.
So this kept it all in the box, so to speak.
Now, Aaron, what was how did you decide to release A Crushing Weight of the Sun as the first single?
it just has it kind of encompasses a lot of the entire album in one spot. It starts off with kind of like a rock and roll vibe to it. It's got the heavy, disturbing sides of it. It's just got a little bit of everything. It's a very anthemic song and a very powerful song, and it just felt like it was right at the moment, And we had a video idea for it too, which we released recently. So it just seemed like it was the right song to kind of put that foot forward, It's catchy too, which is
It is. It's one I would have released. I listened to it and I go, yep, that's the one right there.
yeah. Because a lot of our songs don't really have a hook or a chorus, And this album has a little bit more of that than normal, but that song in general just has that. It just has that thing that it just sticks in your head, or at least it did with when we talked about it. We just felt it was the right thing. So
now, one of the biggest things with When the Deadbolt Breaks is obviously your live shows. Anybody that has they'll listen to When the Deadbolt Breaks and they might be like, yeah, that's kind of cool. And then they go see them live and they go, what the fuck was that? Like, they're like, oh, they were projecting stuff and you couldn't see them. And it was crazy. You must be getting excited because we were talking. You said that, you got a show coming up in July, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, we have July. I think it's like.
Oh, wait a minute, I have it here. I can coach you through this. Wait a minute. It is July 23rd at the Cockeyed Crow Bar and Grill,
right,
in North Haven with Afghan Haze, Gorge, and one of my favorite bands from the area, Pinto Graham.
Yeah.
Stellar lineup. How did that come about? Did they reach out to you and be like, hey, we're good, we're mask free, we're ready to rock, we're ready to go?
Yeah, the promoter Joaquin had contacted us directly, and we weren't really aggressively looking for shows. I mean, we got the Maryland Doom Fest that we were very excited about.
Yeah,
That's a good one. The plan was to do a couple shows before then, so we're kind of cautiously trying to figure out what we want to do and see what's open and what's not. But when Joaquin contacted us and said Afghan Haze, he listed off the bill, and we were just like, there's no way we could say no to that.
right.
It's a stellar lineup, and it just,
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're super excited about that.
Are you revising, repairing, reviewing, retraining anything for your live show? Are you still gonna have the visuals?
We're still going to use the visuals. Yeah. I mean, as before, like we only use it. We don't use it every show. I mean, there's certain shows that the club's just not conducive to it,
Right.
So smaller clubs, like we played a club in Philly. I can't remember the name of it, and it just the setup of it wouldn't have made sense. You can't really use the video projector for that. So,
Right.
But for the most part, yeah, we're bringing back the entire stage show and doing a different style of video. It'll be the same type of thing, but I mean, the whole idea was it's not, the music isn't about the band necessarily. It's about that moment. It's about the feeling, the
experience. Yeah.
Right, just the crushing experience of the volume and that pulsing noise, and just plus you got the visuals and the flashes and all that. So it's more about that, and somebody leaving that going, I don't even know what just happened to me.
Yeah. The first time I had that moment was when I went and saw Neurosis at the Sports Palace in Connecticut, and they had the visuals, and as soon as they played for like an hour, and as soon as it was done, I looked at my cousin Randy and I was like, what just happened? Like,
right, yeah.
Were we part of, did I get brainwashed? Did I black out? It was over like that. But it was just that it was almost like being caught inside of a turbine. It's what I can describe it. Just and then they put you out and then they release you, and you're like, and
right. And you remember that, and that's the thing. It's like, it's not about the band. It's about that, like I said, it's about that feeling. It's about that thing that happens to you when you're in that intense of a situation.
That moment.
And when you leave that sticks with you, and you're like, and plus it's like the video goes along with the songs. I mean, it conveys that hopeless, that feeling of just what the fuck,
Yeah. I always thought that your music was pretty much set for horror movies. Like if you knew someone that was directing horror movies, you could be like, here's the soundtrack, here's our new album, base a movie off of it, or vice versa. I have a movie, I'm gonna base the soundtrack off of it, because it's got
that's always been in the back of my head. Eventually, I would love for that to happen.
Yeah, it would be. I think it would be very cool if you find a filmmaker that you can coincide with, and the next album is literally a soundtrack,
right,
to that. Because you think about the bands that did that shit back in the day. I mean, Maximum Overdrive is all AC/DC. It's all old AC/DC songs, but it's, Stephen King high on cocaine going AC/DC. We mentioned Fastway is the same thing. You can mention, shit like fucking Judgment Night or heavy metal or whatever. All that ties into the whole bigger entertainment scheme, which is cool. And I think that you guys are in an area that is so rich and thriving with bands and with artists and with, people that just want to get, their songs out there, their podcasts, their videos, whatever the fuck it is, that there's a lot of collaboration that can go on. I know one of the things that you and I were talking about that I thought was pretty cool as far as happenings go and being in the right place at the right time is when you had mentioned to me that you were getting put on the Maryland Doom Fest. You said that was a story in itself, because you were trying to get on it for a while, and then you said you went to a show? Is that what it was?
No, we played. So
you played a show. Okay.
We've been playing Maryland since we first started. Our very first tour was in Maryland back in, I don't know, 2006, I think, with Ichabod.
Yeah, Ichabod from that's a singer from Oxblood Forge's old band.
Yeah, and I think
Ken. Yeah,
I feel like Cortez was there too. So I mean, that was 2006. I think it was our first real, 3-day weekend or whatever down to Maryland. So we've been playing it for years, and I know all those guys, and it's like our second home. I mean, it's a fucking great people, great place to play, great
Yeah.
bands out of there, you know. So the Maryland Doom Fest, it's a coveted festival, you know. It's like the Catalina wine mixer, you know. So
Yeah, the
it's
fucking
hard to get
Catalina
on.
wine.
And every year we tried, and JB's always like, oh, you know, it's either already booked up or hey, hit me up in a month, and it never really caught up, you know. So we ended up playing last year, the year before last. We went down to Maryland. We opened for the Obsessed
Nice.
at Cafe 611, and JB was there, and the place was pretty packed, and it was a great show. I mean, we did really good. And so at the end of the night, we're drinking and we're hanging out by the merch booth, and this guy comes up to me and he's talking and shit, and he's like raving about the band. He's looking at my photography books and shit. And I'm talking to him for like an hour, and we're just kind of drunk talking. Like, I don't really know him. Doesn't really look familiar, but you know, he's a super cool guy. So later I see him over and he's got his arm around JB and he's like pointing at me, you know, pointing at the band or whatever. And they're both like shaking their heads. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. And I think it was literally the next day I talked to JB and he was like, yeah, hey, if you guys want to be on the Maryland Doom Fest, we can work this out. And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is perfect. So it turns out that was John Paul, who's the drummer for Plush, was hanging out for the show and loved the Deadbolt show and had talked to JB. And so that's the theory, is that's how we got on the bill really ultimately. And we were scheduled for, I think, next year. I mean, because everything technically got pushed up because it kept getting canceled and moved, you know. So when I found out that they were definitely doing it in October, JB and I had talked. He was like, hey, somebody just canceled. We could put you on. So October, Halloween weekend, we're going down to play that. So
Oh, awesome.
super
Halloween
excited about it,
weekend.
yeah.
You guys are perfect for that too, man, because I mean, you think Halloween, you think Deadbolt, you know, definitely. you got that written all over you. All right.
Charlie Brown and Deadbolt.
Yeah. You had me waiting a pumpkin patch all night.
Yeah.
Shut up. You picked your own destiny. Shut up. So I'd like to give 30 seconds to Charlie to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. And go.
I watched a video today on Facebook, and it's these two guys that are like they're like kung fu guys,
Mhm.
and they get in this argument about what technique is better, and they get in this, like, you know, they kind of get in their face, and then one of them beats the crap out of the other one.
5, 4,
I think he's still
3,
five left.
2, 1. Okay. So now that you guys are when the Deadbolt breaks, this is the lineup. This is what you guys are going out to put out there in the world. Do you have any sort of, I guess, I mean, you got 2 record labels that are picking you up. You got Maryland Doom Fest that's coming up. Is there anything on your bucket wish list that you want to accomplish in either 2021 or 2022?
You know, I think we're at this point, we're just excited about the records coming out and being able to get back on stage and just turning everything up, you know?
Yeah. It's been a while. Yeah.
I mean, that in itself, I think, is going to be a good accomplishment, you know? And I mean, just having the 2 records out together, I mean, that, I think we put the pandemic to good use. So I'm kind of excited that everything is kind of getting back into play again, you know? So
Right.
at least that's my version.
Are Charlie and Rob, are you guys doing anything aside from the When the Deadbolt Breaks? Is there any Crawl Below stuff that's going to come about, or something down the road that's that we don't know about yet, that's maybe a work in progress?
It's a weird time that I'm used to being in like 6 bands and doing a bunch of my own solo stuff, but this is it. This is all that's really going on right now for me anyway. Rob's in a bunch of bands now, but I'm just kind of.
What bands are you in, Rob? What are you
Well, we got Deadbolt,
Yeah.
and then the Vatican Fire thing, whatever that's going to be, and then Buzzard Canyon.
Oh, that's
And-
right. Yeah, I forget. That's a whole nother show episode, because obviously I want to get your lovely significant other there, Aaron, on to talk about that and the guys, but we'll touch on it briefly. Who's in Buzzard Canyon now?
Rob joined up on bass.
Yep.
And then we got Matt Raptor on drums.
Yep.
Amber Lee's on vocals. Mike Parkin on guitar, and then I do guitar and I sing.
And we'll We'll talk about the Buzzard Canyon stuff on we'll do another show because
Yeah,
you guys have stuff coming up that's cool as well. It's amazing. It sounds like the pandemic worked for you. It like you came straight through it, and it was like, ta-da! Hey, we're gonna give you a record deal. We're gonna give you a record deal. We're gonna give you.
I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, yeah, because you
Yeah.
can look at it two ways. I mean, we could have just sat around and kind of waited,
Yep.
you know, and then start being all rusty and shit, trying to get back together now and like panic because there's no, you know, or just take advantage of your time. And we decided to do that, and it worked. I mean, it was, I can't even relay how smooth it was. It's ridiculous how smooth it was.
Yeah.
It worked, and it worked well. I don't know why, but it just happened. So,
Well, I mean, you guys and Mourn the Light, you know, they have a new album coming out, Argonauta as well. And you know, you're hearing bits and pieces and lingering of other bands that have written stuff and putting stuff out. And I think that one of the biggest things is probably going to be just the shows starting to pop up little by little. I saw there's a whole Horsebrook Cafe over in Plainfield was doing shows, and I
just played there last Sunday with one of my bands, Tallest.
What's the name of the band?
Tallest.
Tallest?
Yeah, Tallest.
Who's in that?
Sean.
Bunch of tall guys.
Yeah, a bunch of tall guys.
Oh,
The
gotcha.
drummer's like 6'6". I'm 5'6".
You stand on his shoulders.
Yeah.
It's like Master Blaster only.
Yeah. Who
Yeah,
runs Bada Town?
Yeah.
yeah, I'm the shortest guy in Tallest.
Ask him who the singer for Tallest is, because this is a big scoop for you.
Yeah.
Who's the singer for Tallest?
Filipino George Clooney.
Punslin.
Yeah.
Right, where they go,
What?
Punslin brother. That's awesome. He's a good looking one there.
Yeah.
I like them guys. They got the face, and yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And he's handsome as ever.
His
So-
voice sounds handsome.
Yeah.
He's got a handsome sounding voice. So which Punslin moved?
Jake.
So Jay, is he in a band now? Is he playing
Yeah, he's in a band called Clothesline.
in New York? Is that right?
Yeah, it's like New York, New Jersey area.
New York, New Jersey. Okay. And then
Right around
Sean's,
New York City.
where's Sean? Where does Sean live?
East Line.
East Lyme. Who else was in Tallest?
So it's me on bass, Sean on vocals, Jay Gantz on drums,
Okay.
and Matt Futoma on guitar.
Oh, cool. Who did you end up? Was that wasn't the Oxblood Ford show, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Okay. I saw a ton of
It
pictures.
was us, Oxblood Forge, and 3 Parts Dead.
Is that still when they're doing shows at Horsebrook? Is it still minimum seating type of thing? Are they?
No,
there
that's all
restrictions?
released now. So everybody was mask free, and there was no capacity limit.
Okay.
Have you been keeping up on Oxblood?
Oh yeah, they're actually my next Zoom interview is with them.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Like-
whoa is right. Yeah, let's
I
not
was,
drop.
I
Let's
was
not
saying
drop
the
it.
night-
Don't drop it. But yeah, it's whoa.
Like a lot of us, I mean, I'll speak for myself, coming out of this whole year and a half of no playing, there's some rust, haven't been on stage. So those guys came out like they've been practicing twice a week
Mhm.
for a year and a half.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Kenneth McKay is on another level.
dude, that Decimator record is top 5 for me this year,
He
and
he can just do anything.
amazing.
he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I'd love to hear Red Mantis stuff, but
Red Man is awesome too, but everyone is firing in that band.
oh
They're-
my God, they're amazing. And
Amazing.
that Decimator is like, to me, Decimator was like when I first heard like Hellbent for Leather. I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit. Like
So- they're playing on this little patio in
Yeah.
nowhere, Connecticut.
yeah.
And they play this song and he goes, this song is called like The Fire of Steel.
Yeah, Forge and Fire or something.
Ah! No, fire.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He screams.
He holds it
Yeah.
for like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Fellow
He's like-
mailman.
he's
Fellow
like-
mailman, brother.
He's
Yeah.
like the Aaron Lewis of singers.
Yeah.
That Aaron Lewis.
That Aaron Lewis. Yeah, not
Good one.
not the cum stained one. Yeah, he I love exactly. They one of the best thing that I love about Oxblood Forge about this new record, and I actually told, I have the my screen, my background of my computer is the new album Decimator. That's the fucking guy with the dragon and I said,
With his abs.
I said, dude, I said, you seriously, what you guys have to do is go out and get like a piece of shit van and make friends with somebody who can fucking paint and get that painted huge, like on the side of it with like giant, the ox blood forged, like lettering from like the movie Excalibur that's like
Like a
gleaming
shag
and shit.
wagon.
And yeah, and just that's what you guys have to fucking tour in and roll up in. And he's like, I'll make that happen. I'll make that happen. Because yeah, it's great. Yeah, and those guys are really tight. Even I'm even gonna throw, I'll throw a bone here at More in the Light because they're the guys that I'm gonna do a Zoom interview with them after Oxblood. And they're the same way. That the new record that they have coming out that's gonna be on Argonauta is stellar. Andrew has really progressed as a singer in that band. And then the second guitarist and Dwayne with his backup and the dual Iron Maiden stuff. And
Wayne's gotten a lot better as a guitarist.
wow, like from when I was in that band, he's tenfold. And who's their drummer? Is it Knight? Is that his name?
Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle. Awesome. Full on, straight up awesome. And yeah, well, Bill Herrick, I mean,
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
End of
all we
sentence.
have to say is Bill Herrick.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love you, Bill Herrick. He's fucking amazing. But yeah, it seems like New England is really starting to shine and starting to come back. I mean, I'm waiting to see the Altone shows start to come back. I don't know. Have they announced anything for that venue?
He just had a show, didn't they?
Was there a show there?
Yeah, something got rained out at Horsebrook and they moved it to Altone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But have they booked anything for the actual?
I haven't seen anything else aside from the Doom and Bruise Fest. I haven't seen anything else. But
Oh, that's right.
The
Yeah.
guy that makes all the
It's
flyers.
it's coming.
It's coming. Okay, cool. Are we gonna have a revisit of what's his fucking mosh potatoes?
Oh, it's the Josh Pit.
Josh
Yeah.
Pitt are we gonna start doing the videos again and he can be
Yeah,
the,
you got to interview, do an hour-long introspective with him. That'll be a real good time.
I wanted him to just around Christmas sit down and just read like Charles Dickens, or I mean he could, and then like every 15 minutes somebody brings him like a beer, and then every like
Mountain
10
Dew.
minutes they bring him does he drink
I
beer?
don't think so. Just Mountain Dew. Mountain
Okay,
Dew and
so-
Doritos, that's what he subsists on.
Just keep bringing him a Mountain Dew every 15 minutes so he just gets more and more. So by the time he's 2 hours in, he's like, he's a Scrooge, and he'll just like, it'll be like scanners.
I'm gonna make
Wipe
that
off the
happen, and when
screen.
it goes viral, I will send you some
Fucking
of the
A.
clips.
Oh, absolutely. But you need to put that live. That's going to be a YouTube live, Facebook live. I literally will just sit back and like relax, and just be like, you got this. You do the little comment sections underneath, like read it in a Cockney accent, Molly was dead 7 years, Oh, you could do it. That's the beautiful thing about the scene where you guys are. It's just everybody lends some sort of thing to it, whatever it is, making
yeah,
that
really.
character. Yeah, it's like characters, and then when you go to the show, you're like, oh, dude, you're like, that's the guy, that's the fucking Josh Pitt. Or you go over there and you're like, oh, that's so and so. You're like, oh, that's the guy that got beat up by the dude from fucking the band where he hit him with a dildo, like that guy. Yeah, he's down on the floor. He beat his ass with a dildo. Yeah, there's some things you can't erase from Altone shows. There's just some things that
Can I get you something, honey?
yeah, so fucking wrong with that love-hate relationship, between those two guys. We all know where everybody knows what I'm talking about. There was one of those things where I'm standing on the side of the stage and I was like, something is gonna go fucking horribly wrong with this wrestling shit. and then I see that this thing come out. It just and I was like, how do you explain that to your grandchildren after? Yeah. How do you explain that to your pastor? How do you explain that to your mother? Hey, mom, come look at my show. Check this out. Awesome set. Oh, that guy? Oh, yeah, he just beat me up with a dildo. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Actually, I think one of the last times that all of us, with the exception of Steve, I don't mean to leave you out, Steve, but you know, you're the new friends. You're the Monica or whatever. So we ended up seeing all of each other. I think at my going away party was the last time we all kind of hung out. And it's been, you know, for me moving down south, you know, I just traded you guys for hanging out, you know, with fucking Dixie from Weed Eater, you know, so it's pretty much an even Steven.
Yeah.
I mean,
good trade. Yeah. Very good trade.
You know, it's like,
Sounds
I
like
never
a
even
waitress
left.
from Altones.
What's that?
Sounds like a waitress from Altones.
Pretty much. Yeah.
The waitress. I mean,
and you know, hanging out with the tote guys and hanging out with the children of the reptile guys, and it's our scenes are simpatica. So what I would really love to see now that the pandemic is fucking gone is the South come up to the north and the north come up to the south. So if you guys ever decide to get in the van with the Oxblood Forge guys, and you know, when the Deadbolt Breaks on one side of the van, Oxblood Forge, you know, Dragon fucking Slayer on the other side, and you come down this way, we got to get you a gig playing at Reggie's, because I think you've played there, right, Aaron?
I did an acoustic set there for Mike Boone's funeral.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then Deadbolt played there when the tour we did with Elder.
Yeah.
At the point where we split off with Elder, they went one way, we went our own way. We ended up going down to Reggie's, and we played there with Keith Wrench's band, and I can't remember what the name of the band was. But Reggie's it's a really cool place.
It survived through the pandemic too. They did this fucking brilliant thing. So they did two things. First of all, they printed up a ton of merch.
Yeah.
I mean, t-shirts, bandanas, cozies, hats, and everybody just bought it in droves. And they were printing new designs like every month. So they must have had some fan like, okay, yeah, they had like the Bad Brains Rock for Light logo for a while there, and then and people were buying that. But the other thing they did is they did beers to go and drinks to go. So you could literally show up and drive up there, get out, walk up to the door, and they would bring you your drinks, you know, like Grubhub, like have a nice day, you know, and you take off with your booze. And they would open up at 4:00. They do it from like, I think 4 to 11, and 7 hours just slate it. But everybody's like, when are you doing shows? When are you doing shows? And then I think the first show that's coming up in a few weeks, I think it's like the second week of July, is Toke is playing. And then later on they have Freedom Hawk and High Reaper are going to be touring. They're coming there, and they've announced a couple other small ones or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to see the Southern guys go up to your neck of the woods and
we haven't been down in there in a while. I remember the first time we were at Reggie's. I'll have to tell you later because it's a long story. We had a really funny experience like getting there and actually being there, because we thought we were at the wrong spot originally. We thought it was a gay bar.
The way you walked in?
Oh, well, because you walked in and it was like, there's pictures of YMCA, the Village People, and there's like
right on the corner.
The bar has the merchandise or whatever. Yeah. And I wanted to buy a shirt, and there was a sign that said, "Buy a shirt for your girl or the girl in you."
Yeah. It sounds like Reggie's.
We just make all these things, and we're wondering if it was a gay bar. So at the time, Mike was playing bass with us, and he got hit on twice there, and at that point he hadn't left his house for like 10 years.
He just shut down.
Well, he freaked out, and then somebody brought him a beer, and they brought it to him with the thumb over and they're like, "Here, this is for you." And it was the bartender, but he got it from a different spot than he got my beer. And like I said, he gave it to him with his thumb over it. And Mike wouldn't drink it. He's like standing outside, and he's like, beer, which was weird for him. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, because we were all pretty lit by this point. He's like, I think somebody put something in this, so I'm not drinking it. So I was like,
you thought it was going to be roofied? Really?
So I dumped it out.
In the South?
I'm like, come on, inside. We'll go inside and get you another beer. So I ordered him another beer while we're standing there. Like we're just like leaning on the bar, and this guy walks up to Mike, stands right next to him, puts his hand on his, and goes, can I buy you a drink? And Mike was just like, he turned fucking pale white.
Well, I wonder if they were just like messing with him or like, well, no, they're friendly in the South
He's
too,
a
but you
good-looking
never
guy,
know. Yeah, he's a good looking
Very nice
dude.
hair.
Yeah.
Um,
It was a funny experience. I mean,
the
you know.
last show that I saw, the very last show I saw was there at Reggie's before the fucking, the pandemic hit. And it was The Obsessed and fucking Today Is the Day. And
I love that band. Yeah.
just anything that Rev does, the Reverend Steve Steve Austin is unbelievable. But yeah, it was kind of a crazy night because you had the Doomer guys with The Obsessed, and then you had like everybody that I'm gonna say this, okay? I might get in a little bit of trouble for saying this, but I don't give a fuck. Everybody that listens to Today Is the Day, present company included, is a little fucking nuts.
You have to be.
And that crowd
Yeah.
they were the type of crowd where they were right up front. They knew every single word. And at any point during the show, they could literally grab you and punch you for no reason. The guy standing to my right was just doing these like rhythmic freaking out, and I could see his lips moving, and and then at one point he just hauled off and like punched me in the shoulder, and I was like, I'll give you that one. And then I walked around the other side of the stage, and he did it to the guy next to him, and that guy did it to him, and it was just this controlled chaos. The music was so crazy and intense, with the way that Steve yells and screams, and the drummer doing quadruple blast beats. I don't even know how the fuck he did it, but it was insane. And then shut down literally 2 weeks later. No shows, nothing, just boo down the fucking toilet.
Today's the Day is such a unique band, and I remember I got turned on by them when I was in cable, because Randy was friends with them and stuff. But there's something about them that just, it's completely fucking insane. Yeah, I mean, Steve is the nice dude. He's super nice. He's a genuine guy with the music.
Awesome dude.
It's like it's so all over the place and so brutal at most points that you can't help but just you love it. I mean, it's fucking insane, and that's in one way that's always been a weird influence for when the Deadbolt Breaks has done, because I like the fact that Steve just kind of looks at things and says, you know what, it doesn't matter if this goes with that, it's gonna fucking happen anyways. And he just makes it happen. And the riffs are bizarre, and the timing and the keys, and I've always really admired that. So it's been definitely an influence of what we've done.
I've always thought that if there was somebody out there that ended up like killing a bunch of people and was put on trial, and they said, yeah, exactly, him. If they pointed at you, Aaron. if someone was going to literally plead insanity, all they would have to do is go, yeah, I murdered them because I was listening to Neurosis when the Deadbolt Breaks, and Today Is the Day. And they're like, insane. Bye. And you're like, it's just bang, the gavel goes down, you're out the door, you're in your little whatever. But hey, you get away with it because I've had my wife on several times has opened up the door on accident. Let's see what Greg is listening to, and it's just and she's like, that's not music. What is that? It sounds like someone being murdered. And I was like, exactly. That's what I like. Don't fuck with it. Lesson learned. Please close the door. Thank you. No sweet tea. Well, we covered a lot. We've been on here for about an hour talking with the guys from When the Deadbolt Breaks, and I'm excited, man. 2 albums coming out, man. 2 different record labels. Maryland Doomfest around Halloween. You got a show coming up on July 23rd in is it New Haven or North Haven? Is it let's see what it is.
That one's North Haven, and then we're playing 33 Golden in August with High Reaper and Yatra.
Oh, awesome. Great bands, man.
So,
yeah.
It's a small club.
Watch out for them High Reaper dudes. They like to
yeah, we played with them in Texas. I remember actually we played with Yatra in Texas too. So
did the High Reaper, did the singer, was he pulling nips out of his fucking, he likes to do that. He likes to keep nips like in his in his vest, and he's just like,
Got to keep it accessible, man.
medicine, medicine. I don't know. So good things for when the Deadbolt breaks, and no release date though on the Argonauta side of things, right?
He said mid-fall. It's
Mid-fall.
the,
Okay.
the vinyl pressing plants are so backed up right now, so everything's behind. So at this
Okay.
point, we're looking at mid-fall.
And Electric Talon will be CD and digital.
CD and digital, and it's tentatively scheduled for Halloween weekend.
So maybe you'll have your merch just to parsway over onto the peoples of the Marylands.
That's the plan, yeah. So
Yeah.
hopefully everything kind of goes in order.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Anything else going on with anybody that they'd like to touch on before we wrap things up here? Anything cool?
You mean personally? Because that might be a loaded question.
I've been making a list of famous stranglers.
Well, there's Boston. I don't know of anybody else.
Aaron.
Oh, Aaron. Yeah, Aaron. Yeah. Aaron's got so much weird shit going on though that we could do like a 4-part episode. We'll have our own
new normal.
We'll have to, the new normal. Yeah, we'll have, you and I'll have to talk about doing a podcast sometimes and just talking about all the crazy shit that we do, because it's extensive. There's
I'd love
layers
to, yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, I'm not bullshitting. We will. Now, Charlie, on the other hand, are you still training people how to fight? Is that or defend?
I stay away from the whole MMA thing. That's a lot of like goons and guys with daddy issues, but I train normal people pretty much.
So not Aaron.
Yeah,
but it's defense. It's defense class, right? It's how to protect yourself.
Yeah. It's good times jujitsu, basically.
Okay. And then a few months ago, you had a nice little release with your daughter collaborated on Animal School Bus. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have a grindcore band with my daughter who's 9, and we started it when she was 2, and we recorded 14 songs when she was 2. She wrote all the lyrics and did all the vocals. I did everything else, and then we did 3 new songs and then 3 live songs and put that out on Lawnmower Jetpack Records. About 2 months ago, it sold out. Instantly. Got a lot of really good reviews, and a lot of people online have been saying she's one of the better new vocalists out there.
She's 9. Yeah,
it's awesome because she doesn't like metal. She only wants to listen to Taylor Swift, but she can scream.
Yeah.
Usually at me and my wife about having to clean her room and not eat cereal for dinner and stuff.
What was it? What was the song? Mommy's favorite color is green.
Yeah, favorite color green.
Favorite color green, and then I can do one-handed cartwheels, and
I put out a video for that one.
Oh, it's fucking great. Yeah, I played that for my family, and they were just like, this is brilliant. This is like, what metal fathers, hardcore fathers, should do with their, if you're going to do something cool with your kids, do something cool with your kids, like go in the backyard and I don't know, build a fucking tank, out of PVC and terrorize your neighbors with it or something, or
I was reading one of the reviews that we got from like Italy or something. I translated it and it was a really glowing review. I got like halfway through. She's like, Dad, I want to go outside.
It sucks. God, eat it, Tina. Come on, jeez. How about you, Rob? What do you have going on in your life?
Music, really.
Yep.
Tallest is we're recording a full length, which is pretty exciting. Pretty much the guitar, bass, and drums are all done.
Okay.
And Sean's coming in on Sunday to start the vocal tracking.
Oh, you're doing it at your studio?
Yeah.
What's the name of your studio?
Project 706.
Project 706. Cool. Oh, that's cool, man. So that gives you complete control over how that's going to come off and adding different layers and stuff to it.
Yeah, so I got that going on. At some point, we do want to get the Sentinel Hill album. We're going to get that recorded at some point.
You've done a demo, right? Was it a demo or an EP?
Yeah, it was a 3-song demo with a bonus track.
Right.
We've still got copies of that. If if anyone's interested. But yeah, so now we want to put out the full length, but we still a lot of other shit going on between Deadbolt and Tallest and stuff like that.
How about you, Steve? What do you have going on?
Not a whole lot, really. Yeah, we're between work and other things. It's just been a little bit chaotic. So we're pretty open. But if anyone wants remixes done, I'm always available.
How do they reach you?
Through my website, it's juno6.com.
Okay. And are you going to be playing live with these guys? Is this the?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Tonight was actually the first official practice. Well, I mean, we've been jamming for quite a few weeks to get the stuff down. But tonight was Steve's first official time with us tonight, and it went really well. So the new live shows are going to be definitely a little unique. So
it'll be Steve in corpse paint with a single red spotlight on you, wearing the sun robe, the Greg
Doom robe,
actually going for a Keith Emerson thing. We're going to put knives in the keyboards and wear a cape.
Dude,
cocaine, maybe.
What was the other guy? The keyboardist from Yes. Remember he used to wear a cape?
Yeah.
Remember that shit? Yeah. I was watching like an old, really old, where they were doing Roundabout, and they would cut to him, and he had like 30 organs. Like he had like 5 layers of organs. He only played like, I mean, he was amazing, but he's only playing like 1 or 2 of them or whatever. And then he'd go this one over here. But he had like that full Jimmy Page style cape thing, not like what Jimmy Page used to wear in like a one-piece thing or whatever. He had the cape, and I was like, why doesn't that come back? Why you should bring that back? I mean, that was such a structural, functional, you could do the fucking Dracula thing with it.
The drugs are different now.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem.
Now it's meth. Yeah. Now it's all meth. So it's like
I'm gonna play the next show on bath salts.
Yeah. Tide Pod. It's Tide Pod margaritas down here all the way.
There you go.
Yeah, it's funny. I'll be out driving around delivering mail, and it's obviously down here it's a lot of double wides, single wides, trailers and shit. And I will literally get to like, I was up in Jacksonville, and I'll get to like the end of the road, which for me looks like the end of the world. Like there's no way anything else can continue down this road, or you're gonna get murdered. And I'll take a whiff and be like, meth lab, and turn around and fucking drive out. Like, nope. It says in my contract I don't have to deliver anything past 0.5 miles in the woods or to a meth lab. So no thanks. So we're gonna wrap things up and talking with Steve, Aaron, Charlie, and Rob from When the Deadbolt Breaks. 2 new albums coming out this year. If they want to check you out, it's Facebook, it's Instagram,
and Bandcamp.
And does When the Deadbolt Breaks have an actual website anymore?
We have the website address, but it goes directly to Bandcamp. So you can go to whenthedeadboltbreaks.com, and it just takes you straight to Bandcamp.
Oh, hey, that's a question I actually had for you. With Argonauta, I saw that Salt of the Earth Records is going to be the distributor for Argonauta now. They're going to have it. They're going to have will they have your record? Do you know?
I don't know how that's working. I know we're getting copies on our own as well.
Okay. So they can go through.
Yeah. So I believe the way it's going to work is you can order through either us directly or Argonauta. And if you get ordered through Argonauta, then it comes through Salt of the Earth Records.
Okay, cool.
Order through us directly, then, obviously.
Yeah, because, the pricing to send that shit from Italy is.
Yeah, well, and I think that's why they started doing that. So.
Right. Yeah, I know Salt of the Earth will get a bunch. You'll get a bunch and then just buy it direct. More than the Lights the same way. They'll get a bunch. As far as Electric Talon goes, where are they located out of? Where are they from?
Pennsylvania.
Okay, so cool. We don't have to worry about media mail. Ship everything media mail. It's cheap as shit.
Yeah.
Media
takes
mail.
longer though to get there, but
Media mail.
That's what I've been doing.
doing. Exactly. DHL,
this guy
Um,
actually, the post office actually let me send a shirt through media mail the other day.
Oh, they
It's like, I
did?
never was supposed to do this. I'm like, nobody will know.
They usually, when you walk up there, they're always like, "Do you have anything hazardous, protective? Is it leaking? Is it edible? Is it da, 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 da?" And usually, before I worked for them, I would be like, "It's a book. It's a CD." Now that I work there, I like to mess with them, and I walk up there and I'm like, "Well, what do you mean by like radioactive?" And I go to other post offices that don't know me and do that, and they're like, "What do you mean by radioactive?" like, I'm like, okay, well, is it perishable? I don't know. Our hands, do they spoil?
It's a body part. I mean,
It's leaking now, but I can take care of that. I'll be right back. Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. My name is Lord Gates, and this has been When the Deadbolt Breaks. So check out their 2 new records coming out and their shows and everything else that is When the Deadbolt Breaks. I will talk to you guys soon. And don't forget www.raptureradio666.com. And we also have the exclusive only for Android, because we're cheap as hell, app for Rapture Radio. My name is Lord Gates. Be good, be bad, be something, and I'll see you when I see you. Later.
thanks, man.